Echo. And set on the radio. I may say a pleasant good morning to you, Grace, and how are you?
Good morning, Mr. DJ Flames, Mr. Dwayne Ferguson. I am well, thank you. It is a very good time for persons involved in not only music, but anybody who is a IP rights holder, especially copyright holder in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Not only because of our compliance and our certificate, but also when I woke up this morning, even before the sun was up, I got an email from a friend of mine, Mr. Fabian Alfonso, and I shared it with you.
Yes.
And that is something very, very great, not only for Trinidad and Tobago, but also the rest of the Caribbean. So I suppose we could talk something about that in our conversation today.
I'm going to be honest. When you send me stuff, I take a while and I read, and then I call
Okay.
and we discuss.
All right, okay,
but I
well,
didn't get a chance to browse through it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll run through it later on during the program.
And I also just want to inform the general public that we were to have someone from the Legal Affairs Office or the Intellectual Property Office to, just have everyone at the table to sit down and have a civil conversation of what next and what to look forward for. We was also looking forward from someone from the police force as well. I know I've reached out to you pertaining to that. I don't know what fruitful multiply from that last conversation we had.
All I can let you know is that I suppose it would be up to the police force to say something, because Section 138 of the Copyright Act speaks about the powers of the police, etc. So, I mean, if they are an organization that is supposed to be upholding the law, I'm supposing that they would say something soon to let the public know how they're going to move forward.
Well, I hope, because we're supposed to be moving in unison now, because we've been trying for years to get this thing up and running in the right manner.
Yes.
And I know, the backlash, negative press and stuff like that, we have to get that out the way and try to re-educate everyone to understand how important, CMO are in the Federation and throughout the world.
That's right.
So we have a lot of work to do. The media have a lot of work to do. The police have a lot of work to do. Legal Affairs have a lot of work to do. And ECHO also have a lot of work to do.
A lot more work than that we bargained for, because it's not a good track to have to be out there all the time as a CMO, informing the public about the legal aspects of IP when there are other organizations that should be. Should be the role.
Let me put it out there.
Okay.
The organization that is supposed to be educating the masses and about the legal framework and the do and don'ts seems to not doing what they're supposed to do. Pertaining to the police enforcing the law, that is one, and also Legal Affairs need to educate everyone, thoroughly of what next now that ECHO is in compliance. I have the compliance certificate.
Okay, and not only that, but I mean, remember when I was on the program last, I also spoke about the related rights matters pertaining to people who perform on recordings and people who are the owners of some recordings. And I was saying that there are CMOs that represent those kinds of persons, and that we don't have that kind of CMO in the Eastern Caribbean, the ECHO territory. And so therefore we have to look at that, how we protect the rights of persons who are performers on song recordings and also owners of song recordings in the context of the law itself, in the absence of having a CMO to represent them. So that's an important consideration as well too.
And who is responsible for that aspect? For example, I know it's a sisterhood when it comes to the CMOs.
Yes, and so in the world of recording, the international body is the IFPI, right? And they have, just like how ECHO has members, like CSAC has members like BMI, ECHO, ASCAP. IFPI also has members. And the members are record companies and labels and also CMOs. So they represent those persons as well. And they have a very strong legal enforcement team. I would have mentioned to you that I had sent an email to the area representative of the IFPI for Latin America and the Caribbean, and I also copied the global litigation person on the email to give them an idea of the situation that we're facing in the Eastern Caribbean and the Caribbean as a whole, where recording rights are not being respected. So I got a response, and they're going to look into it.
Okay, so when it comes to that, right, when it comes to what you just spoke of, you guys are here to set up shop to ensure that, we pay for a music license or recording license, or if you want to use audio visual for commercial and what's not. The question I'm going to ask,
Yes.
you guys are here to just ensure that the framework is here, but isn't the police and legal is to ensure
That is their role. Yes, their
Yeah.
role is to,
So-
is to ensure that there's legislation and the legislation is followed, right? Or as a CMO, as a member of CSAC, all we are responsible for is collecting for and licensing for the public performance of the works, whether the
Oh.
works are publicly performed live or on recordings. That's
Okay.
all that we're responsible for. Anything else belongs to another organization or the individuals who hold the rights themselves. For example, if I want to use a song in a commercial, right? Before it is publicly performed, before I go and monitor it as Echo, what has to happen is that the person who wants to use that work will have to contact the person who created the work and get their permission first. That's a different type of licensing. You're
Yeah.
talking about synchronization licenses, right? If the person who is using the work says, okay, I don't want to use any recording of the work, I want to do my own recording, then you only need permission from the person who created the song,
Yeah.
the writer. If you want to use a particular recording of the work, you have to get permission from both the person who created the song and also the person who has the master rights for the recording.
Oh,
Yes, you have to clear both rights.
okay.
And all of that is done outside of what we do. We don't control that. So that's a synchronization license and a master use license. We don't control that. That takes place. And if you look at the Copyright Act, those things are protected. So therefore, when you look at what the police should be enforcing, it goes beyond public performance, really, if you're looking at protecting IP rights. And also, it goes beyond just music rights, because you have people who have artwork out there, right? Any kind of copyright material, right? Enforcement is supposed to take place regarding all of or any kind of IP material out there, not just music.
Interesting.
Yes. So for example, when I look at for example the permission that is given for sound by the police, really and truly you have to we understand that sound is not audio alone. Sound is also contained in audio visual,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you're looking at all of that, and so when any advice is being given to the public, it should incorporate. Sorry, oops, I hit my microphone here. It should incorporate all of what IP is, not just music. The recommendations, the warnings, the information should give a whole comprehensive view of what IP is and what IP infringement is.
Okay. Next question. Not question. I want to elaborate more because I received the press release pertaining to the Echo payout, which was over $1 million in US.
Okay.
I
wonder
know-
if our CEO can come in at this point
Yeah,
to give.
he's on standby. So the question is that I want to know, not per dollars and cent, but what percentage of that $1 million pay? Because when you see $1 million pays out, it's not only just for the OECS only,
No, no,
because
no.
you guys covered other
Right.
regional
So
and international acts.
if
So,
memory serves me correctly, if I remember what it said that 40, I think it's 48% remained in the region, and 50 whatever percent was outside the region. But our CEO can give you the exact percentage, and that goes to show you that we still have some work to do in terms of keeping the money in the region. If we're playing more foreign works, the money will go out of the region. And also, a very important thing is that we have to remember that only a small percentage of users in the Eastern Caribbean, in our territory, actually pay the license. So if you're looking at that payout, if you're looking at that payout, and then think about this scenario where majority of users are paying a license.
There will be more money in the sugar kitty.
Right.
But the consumption of music now, our copyright property, I know that's something that most of us don't have control over, because, I mean, when you look at the shows them, like, for example, the Queen shows them, most of them use foreign content.
They use foreign content,
and if you are using a lot of foreign content, that money will go out.
Go out of the region,
and make it worse if everyone come into compliance and paying the license to use this stuff, and you're consuming more regional and international music, the bulk of the money will go. And vice versa, because, like, you know, when you look like in Jamaica, for instance, when it comes to like the reggae music, it's big in Europe.
That's right.
You know, so they make most of their money from Europe, even when, especially when they go on tour, or even when they're not on tour, the music is blasting all over the radio station.
That is true.
Consumption is one thing, but it's good to also ensure that we try to use, you know, our own stuff, especially in cultural stuff.
Yes, it's true.
Well.
But I mean, there's a problem in the fact that, as I mentioned on the last time I was here, you can't make something out of nothing. If you want the persons creating to actually advance, you have to give them the means, and that means especially money, to be able to put more into their production, to raise the production standard. So if we don't do that, then we're going to be stuck.
Okay. What we're going to do, we're going to take a short commercial break right here on Vices and WinFM 98.9. And when we get back, we're going to be chit-chatting with the CEO of ECHO, and he's going to give us a little more insight of the payout and what next.
Yes.
So you can stay with us right here on WinFM 98.9 and your FM dial.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Seize the day with a summer loan from TDC Financial Services. Whether it's vacation, home upgrades, back to school prep, or even a little treat for yourself, borrow up to $65,000 unsecured with low rates and flexible terms. Apply today at TDC Financial Services, Central Street, St. Kitts, or Main Street, Charlestown, Nevis. Don't miss the sunshine. Let your summer plans sail smoothly with TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
Man, you know that is greatness. Some ice in your cup, tell your friends link up. You know that we liming. Signal the bartender. No, we don't need chaser. But if you want, it could mix with anything. We drinking Stones ginger wine, the original ginger wine. We drinking like I say, Stones ginger wine. Greatness is forever.
Okay, check it time. Just about 23 minutes cruising down from the 10 o'clock hour right here inside the studio. winnfm, and it's all about Echo right now. They have received their compliance certification. And that is big news. And talking about in bigger news, our creative also regionally, internationally, and globally receive a payout of $1 million. And we have Mr. James, the CEO of Echo, on the line. A pleasant good morning to you, Mr. James. How are you doing?
A pleasant good morning to you, my kind sir, and good grace and to all the listeners. I'm doing wonderful. We're fresh out of the carnival celebrations. You know, in St. Lucia, Monday and Tuesday, carnival just concluded. And I'm back in office, right back at it, my brother.
Yeah, and how was Carnival? I've seen a lot of snippet via social media. You know, Carnival seems to be the Caribbean Carnival. From what I've noticed since after the pandemic, most of the Caribbean Carnival seems to be getting a little, more boost. You know,
Yes,
so
yes.
how was it like for the economy and the atmosphere in St. Lucia for Carnival this year?
Well, what I could tell you is, the authorities might be able to give you more of that, that information, that data. But from the Echo standpoint, when we saw the big fets, and all of them were licensed, of course. The big fets had record numbers this year. You understand? You seen, imagine on one morning, you know, I think it was Sunday morning, they had 3 or 4 breakfast fets, and each of them had numbers like 3,000 and those, you know, simultaneously. So it speaks to not just the locals being part of the carnival, but and when you've seen a lot of the foreigners and a lot of persons coming in for the carnival, which would automatically redound to the economy, you know, boosting the economy and then the enjoyment. So that speaks volumes. That's only from our angle. From Echo, the shows were licensed, and we followed it. So we want more. The more shows they have, the better it is for your members. The better it is.
That is true.
Especially because Carnival and Jazz are the biggest festivals across our region, really, and then they're supposed to bring in some much returns for our members.
That's good. From what I know, I was in St. Lucia 2015 for vacation, and I also did some events down. Well, I played for some events down there, and one of the when I travel, I like try to research, and what I realized about Echo in St. Lucia, from the smallest event to the largest event, the always the promoters say, yo, you have to get a license there, and if the police are not going to approve this or approve that. So I know you guys been doing your part down there, and the question I'm going to ask now, what next for St. Kitts itself? Because the work here been going on for years, but I don't think it have stuck in the right foundation to build on. So what next now that we have our compliance certification right here in St. Kitts and Nevis? What next for Echo?
Authorization, certificate of authorization. So what I could tell you is, if you since you referred to 2015 and the history, St. Lucia naturally being the headquarters of Echo, you know, you on the ground, you're right there, you understand? But the main thing is there is at least the majority of compliance would come from the government appreciating and the government ensuring that the laws are adhered. It's the only difference from St. Kitts and Nevis is that we don't have a headquarters there, but just like all the other territories, we have our agents and we have our directors, and we have the legitimate means of administering the rights there by way of ensuring that we are compliant with the laws of the land. But the major difference is the support from the authorities.
Yeah.
If the authorities, and it's a no-brainer, you know, that the copyright laws speaks clearly to the use of copyrighted music in public. It has been there before Echo was in existence. It has been there. We are signatory to the Berne Convention. So if the Copyright Act is clear and you have legislation that speaks to the way we're supposed to operate, especially dealing with IP protection. The government is who that really, well, not government, let's use the authorities, politically correct. The authorities are the ones to really ensure that the place is not lawless. And that's all we are asking, because then, if then it befalls us now to educate and to not just educate, but cause persons to have a full understanding of what we are doing, because we are only one part of the stakeholders. We are only a stakeholder in the mix. So there are many other stakeholders. And if the government, as long as the government comes on and say, yes, in pretty much the same way the CMO regulations was passed, and it is the government who put the CMO regulations in place to ensure that ECHO meets the criteria and ECHO does everything. The government has the same responsibility, or the authority have the same responsibility to ensure that the laws or the provisions of the Copyright Act adheres, and they have systems and departments in place to ensure that we live it. Because I could tell you clearly, that is why we have a criminal code. That is why we have a persons cannot just go and squat, and just build any houses anyhow. That's why we have those regulations and we have those laws to protect and to ensure that things fall within a particular parameter. So that's it. So that's the only difference. I said a lot to say. I think the only difference is that we need the authorities to have and there is an appreciation. To be fair, in Kitts and Nevis, there's been much movement. But in recent past, I think things may have gone south, and we are compliant. So I'm not going to speak about why it went south. Maybe that's not for the air there, but there has been quite a lot of movement and upward movement, in terms of adherence in kids. It's just that it's not enough, because then now you find it actually affects the entire narrative if we don't improve and ensure that at least the foundation of the law is adhered to.
Well, one of the questions I would like to ask, if there's any data when it comes to government events, in the OECS, comparison to St. Kitts and the other OECS states, what is the average like when it comes to government licensing their event, when they're having the Freedom Concert, when they're having the rallies and stuff like that? How in compliance they are? Because if the body that is responsible for ensuring that the law is upheld and they're not doing that, you don't think they're going to actually put in the effort or the interest into ensure that the police and the necessary step to follow the guideline and the law. So I would like to know, when it comes to government event in St. Kitts and throughout the OECS, when it comes to government event, at what percentage they register, they take out their license to do what they're supposed to do? Because if they are not doing it, and then ECHO is not holding them accountable. Because one of the issues I had with ECHO, which I always know about ECHO because I've been studying about music from since I small doing those and the business. What I don't want to happen is that the average man, for example, I'm gonna call some of the big promoters them, the DJ Terror, the Kane Juice, the Breaking Dawn, and the list goes on and on. When it comes to these major events, if they have to be paying their license, just like an average promoter or barbershop is paying the license, the government is supposed to be leading by example. Is that happening in the OECS right now?
Yeah. Well, what I could tell you is, permit me to take if I take each territory on its own.
Yeah.
The infringement and the lack of appreciation, or the lack of respect for the creatives across the OECS, it's not enough. It's really, it leaves a lot to be desired. We speak respect, but we don't act respect. If I may do it. So and that's why we have laws and all that, and the very creators of the laws are the ones infringing.
Yeah.
So let us speak to government events. Now we're speaking of live events. So in St. Lucia, every live event is licensed. Okay? Where the government, before you found that in the political parties, and it took a lot for us to really, get them to come to that position. The political rallies in the silly season, as they say, in the silly season, you find everybody just all artists just give songs because they want their songs to be played,
Yeah.
and they want it, and then and the politicians take it and they go on the platforms and you
Mm-hmm.
see big rallies, 10,000 people, and you see that and all that, and the music is being played on air, and we were not getting them to be compliant. That is a thing of the past in St. Lucia. So every political rally, whether it be small, large, or what have you, is, and that's live. Whether you're going to do background music or just DJ music, or you have live events, they are licensed accordingly, just like everybody else. Okay. The same is supposed to go for the other territories. So in SVG, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you find in some instances it happens and sometimes it don't happen. So it's not very, with the situation as it stands with the St. Kitts, the lack of appreciation or the lack of ensuring that the law is adhered to by the government or the authorities responsible, we face that same situation in St. Vincent. In Grenada, we are revamping things. Things are starting to pick up. But it is the same. So then now, when you go to Dominica seems to be one of the most advanced. Second, I mean, in terms of the Copyright Act. Okay, but then you find the government complaining because the feds, we do get license for the main Creole Fest and then those events. You get the license, but then you still have what we need is collections, because you go take your license and then we agree, you say well things, and then you don't pay. It still creates an unfair situation for our creators. You understand? And we have to pay out because we have an obligation to pay out, not just locals but the international reciprocal.
Just to interject there, it should be that whether you pay 50% upfront or 50% after, I should be. You just like how you cannot sell liquor without a liquor license.
Right.
You understand? So I don't think anyone should be doing music, because it's like the artist or the creative, when they go to studio, they gotta pay for that studio time.
And which is a major component of your event. Music. If you have an event without music, I wonder how successful it will be. You have a music event.
Yeah.
And then as we move on to St. Kitts and Nevis, so you have some of the issues that we are facing across the OECS is the lack of the harmonization of each copyright act. So you would find, because it's a sovereign state, you really cannot tell St. Kitts and Nevis what to do because it's a sovereign state. But the unfortunate reality is we are so small in numbers. That's why you need to collaborate and work in sync with other agencies to try and bring a unified position. Now we are very disjointed. I don't know what word to use across the OECS, and it appears that our authorities are not getting that together. They're not getting it because in the Caribbean, really, we still on the big island, small island scenario, and we're just running away from all that and not realizing that without our unified approach, we will not stand as
That is true. But one of my analysis from collecting data, I've been trying to educate the masses when it comes to the CMOs and copyright and intellectual property. Most of the person who are actually dabbling in it is not taking the time out to educate themselves on the business aspect of it. And I think that's where the disconnect is, because if I'm doing something and I'm not seeing, where that I'm supposed to improve and the do and the don'ts, and then the authority realize that the masses who are dabbling in it is not making nice, and then here comes Echo, or here comes any other CMO decide that they based on the Copyright Act or the Constitution, when it comes to copyright in St. Kitts and Nevis, the person who are doing the physical work or who supposed to be getting compensation are not educated on it, are not speaking out about it, are not trying to ensure that the government or the promoters, pay the license. That is what I think is happening right now. So
Yeah.
I would like to know what Echo is going to do in the next 6 months or in the next 5 months, because Carnival is coming up in December, to educate the masses of how important it is about registering the music. I mean,
Well,
copyrighting the music. That's number two. Next thing is about the business aspect of it, because even though you're working on their behalf or they might sign up, sometimes a lot of them do not know. So it's like they will get a call to go and perform for a show in Sandy Point. The show is charging $40, and they're not even asking, is the show licensed? So I think Econ itself now need to do a little more go. And Grace and I have been talking about this,
thank
and
you.
that's why I see Grace being on this platform, because I always telling Grace, the more you put, even if they want to ignore it, or they will say ignore the noise, as some would say, once the information is being out there on social media or in the media outlets, them the radio station, the TV station, and stuff like that, then if then people decide not to take the time out to educate themselves and understand that, hey, this thing that you have as a hobby or you think is just trying a thing can actually make you some money.
Right, right.
You know?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of being out there. But what I can tell you is, we have recognized our shortcomings in terms of the re-educating, and I say
Yes.
re-educating because we have been educating, and the thing is, because we are supposed to work in tandem with the IPO and work in tandem with the authorities and work in tandem with the broadcasters and work in tandem with all stakeholders. And there has been the disconnect. That is why
Yeah.
it is looking like ECHO have not been doing, because all stakeholders have not been working in sync. And now the next step for ECHO is to ensure that we are in sync with the authorities in particular, because the major responsibility is that of the authorities. And I say authorities meaning the departments responsible, the government agencies, and all that, right? The major responsibility is that. Added to that, there is a major responsibility as an individual that wants to go into a particular field, or that is, you're in a particular field. You have a responsibility to at least understand at its basic level what you are getting into, right? You have that. Now, ECHO has not been shy of sending the emails, sending the information, and having at least workshops. At the meetings, I could tell you, in as much as persons may be a little disgruntled that we're not collecting because they don't understand or we're not getting paid,
Yeah.
if you come to the meetings, at least it would show. Our last meeting, dismal, dismal attendance by St. Kitts and Nevis, members. I mean, and we're not going to beat up on them, but what we need to do is to let them know, hey, come and see about your business.
Yeah.
We have members there. We just paid out a distribution. We have members that we have literally begged, because the data we picked up their songs or
Yeah.
picked up their create.
Yeah.
We literally beg and beg and beg and beg them to come and register, please. You know what? Thousands of dollars are just sitting there because you never registered. The song is not registered. It's not properly registered. The thousands of dollars are sitting there. If it goes into 3 years, that amount of money, and before you register it and do all that, it goes back into a
Into the
general
pool.
pool
Yeah.
that goes back to everybody else, and we pay it out to everybody.
Yeah.
So these are monies after
But-
the landscape is already terrible
Yeah,
in terms of not enough collections, not enough, licensing, not enough. You now, whatever you have, you need to make that responsibility.
Yeah.
Take that responsibility. So re-educating the certificate of authorization was only as a result of the new CMO regulations, and we have spoken to that. But our position remained in terms of going at trying to get the licenses going and try to get all those things happening. What I will tell you is, imagine, my kind sir, the one of the biggest events is the St. Kitts Music Festival.
Yeah.
For 2024, we've not yet received. Yes, there was an undertaking for the licensing. Grace will speak to that. But we have not yet received data, nothing, no monies, nothing has collected for the 2024 and 2025 to our end was not licensed. And I do not know how this is going to play out for the creatives, and not just the local creatives, but the
Yeah,
creatives across the
that
globe who
that
perform.
that is something I wanted to touch on because
Well, the government
when it
has
co-
to,
I know
the
when it
responsibility that
comes
is government.
I know when it comes to some of those big headliners, regionally and internationally based, and their recording label are based on who they signed to. In the contract, some of them stipulate that the show
Must be licensed.
must be
Must be.
licensed. That is,
Yep.
I mean, I brought in entertainers before, and that's stipulated in the contract. So the question I would like to ask: what next now that June is St. Kitts Music Festival, Echo wasn't in compliance, I wasn't authorized to operate in
Well,
St. Kitts and Nevis. I mean,
well,
can
it's
it
not
backtrack or it's null and void?
But what I could tell you, it wasn't totally null and void. Here's what we have been operating in the territory for years now.
Yes. Yeah.
Our position, our posture, what we've been doing, our policies, what we've been doing is very consistent. The only aspect that was not in sync was there was a new CMO regulations, and we know that the history we were not in compliance in accordance with all what we were supposed to do. We provided everything before the St. Kitts Festival, right? We provided everything. We received our certificate of authorization after the event. Okay? So what we wanted to do was to speak to the authorities and say, here's what. Let us continue as if, but do not pay us just yet. Put the monies or the royalties in an escrow account, and then as soon as everything fits in, because then you would pay it out. Because the intention was to ensure that Echo operates above board and Echo is fully compliant. That was what everything went about, I didn't hear anything about the creatives' works being protected or being. I didn't hear anything about that. All I heard was Echo must be in compliance and Echo this, Echo that, Echo that. Fine. Echo did all what it had to do to become compliant. Was the festival licensed? We don't know. On our end, we know we didn't license it. We do not know if the government got the respective clearances. We do not know. We are not in a position to say. Right.
I mean, how would they get clearance if the leading body is not authorized? How is it on which entity operating this atmosphere? Because I know you guys are.
No entity. The government would have to go to the rights holders
Okay.
individually.
Okay.
And we're not in a position to say if they didn't, and we're not sure. But it would be very interesting because we would have to get that information simply because we have now, by distribution, we have to speak to our reciprocals, we have to speak to our agent, to our creatives across, and they will be expecting. So what we need to know, and there's still room. If they didn't, there is still room to put that into perspective, because all they do now is they go get the lights. Yes, we go, they give us the data, they give us what the amount, the numbers, the number of tickets, well, all the procedures, they give it to us, and then they make the payment. That's it. And then we make the payment to the respective based on who performed. But outside of that, we are not in a position to know. But it will be very interesting to see how that plays out.
Okay, we're gonna take a short commercial break, but before we do that, I want you to think about this. Have any country have done something like this before? That's one. Number two.
Something like what?
Like what happened with when you guys get the unauthorized letter, and then the government end up doing a major concert. So that's number one. Number two, if it happened before, what were the legal proceedings that take place in something similar to this? Because this is a big issue, because you had some mega stars on the show, and I know those guys is not going to be waiting long for the money. They're going to need the money, because I mean, like when you have people who are signed to BMI or ASCAP and stuff like that, these guys don't play. Because what I realized from since the pandemic, those companies themselves have been very rigorous when it comes to collecting people's things. They realize that a lot of loopholes was out there, and they're cleaning up. So those are the two questions I want you to meds on when we come back. Like if something like this had happened before, and what was the legal outcome? So stick and stay with us right here on WinFM. It's all about voices, and we're talking about Echo and their authorized certification to operate fully and legally in St. Kitts and Nevis. Stick and stay with us right here on WinFM 98.9 and the FM dial.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Shopping TDC just got much easier. Here's how. Log on to shoptdcgroup.com. Shop at your convenience at any time from anywhere, tablet or computer. With our safe and secure payment checkout, you choose the option to pick up in-store or have you delivered right to your door. It's that easy. Shop tdcgroup.com, your one-stop online store.
Shop anywhere, shop anytime, same quality you love. Now online. Shop
www.shoptdcgroup.com.
Rams the good food people always there to serve you. Rams the good food people, locations right near you. Rams the good food people, in-store specials for you. Rams the good food people. Rams. When you need better service, Rams is always here. Better value, better prices. Rams is always here. Rewarding your loyalty. Rams is always here. We are community. We are family. We are family. Rams for you and me. We are community. Rams for you and me.
from the time that you taste it. Man, you know that it's greatness. Some ice in your cup, tell your friends link up. You know that we liming. Signal the bartender. No, we don't need chaser. But if you want, it could mix with anything. We drinking Stones ginger wine, the original ginger wine. We drinking like I say, Stones ginger wine. Greatness is forever.
Yeah, don't forget it's all about voices right here, and we're talking about Echo and what next. We got Grace inside the studio, and she's no stranger. We have Mr. James, the CEO of Echo, as well. Welcome back to Voices. Hello?
Yes, we're here.
Okay. So the question I asked earlier was pertaining to what transpired prior before the music fest and not being compliant to legally operate in St. Kitts and Nevis. The event went on, no license was paid. Have you guys ever been in a situation like this? And if so, what was the legal outcome?
Okay, I'm back. Hi.
Yes.
My kind sir, well, to my mind, well, to our mind, we don't have any data to show that this has happened. We don't have it now to show that this has happened. But it is highly impractical that that would happen, because there's absolutely no reason for government or agencies, government agencies to put on events that are not licensed. It goes against the Berne Convention. It goes against the respective copyright acts and other, treaties that the government themselves have signed on to. So it's very impractical. So I really, from Echo's standpoint, we cannot tell you that we know of other situations like that. What I could tell you is, yes, there are CMOs that have been maybe disbanded from from CSAC. You
Yeah.
understand? Not meeting certain requirements
Mm-hmm.
and those things as the umbrella body. But in terms of the government,
Mm-hmm.
um, no, that really should not be the case. That is why, in as much as ECHO would have failed at the particular time to provide the documentation for the CMO regulations, what you would find, what would be best would be to see how best we could go ahead, get the license, get the permits, and get the necessaries.
Mm-hmm.
And then when everything falls in place, then you go ahead and make payments, and you just conclude it. But then it needed to be licensed because ECHO is the only organization within the OECS that have the right to administer those rights for the public performance of copyrighted music. So that being the fact, and we remain um, legitimate across the OECS. It's just that one anomaly that presented itself, and we could have fixed it. That's why there's room for dialogue and room for discourse, um, in the best interest of the creatives. So to answer your question, um, highly impractical, and we don't have any data to show that now.
Okay. Next question pertaining to obtaining the license. I know, for example, when it comes to renewing my business license. So, for example, if I have a club or a bar and I am going to renew my license every year, I have to ensure that I have my liquor license. I have to ensure that I have my business license. And if I'm promoting, and I have to ensure that I have a promotional license. The question I would like to ask, is there any model set up throughout the OECS already where that it can be, like when it comes to radio station, TV station, when it comes to a restaurant, when it comes to hotel, is anything structured where that is a one-stop shop, just like how in order for you to renew your club license or you to operate your club, you have to ensure that you renew your liquor license. You can renew one and then operate. Is anything set up like that where it's a one-stop shop that when it comes to fixed entity that do event, is there anything where that when you go to Inland Revenue to renew your business license, you can pay for your eco license in any one of the OECS countries, territories?
Okay, okay. To answer your question, I think you used the term one-stop shop.
Yeah.
That would be the ideal. That would definitely be the ideal, not just for ECHO, but the other aspects of obtaining your permission to work and everything. That would be the ideal. What I could tell you for live events in St. Lucia, and that is the same approach that we took in St. Kitts and Nevis, where the police is the final um, um, body that you go to
Checks
get
and
your
balance. Yeah.
right. And then the police would ensure that you have your eco license, your copyright license. They would have if you're going on the beach, then you have your NCA, or the authority responsible. If you are having your liquor license, all the respective licenses, the police would ensure that you have it, and then they would give you your loudspeaker permit in St. Lucia. I think it's amplified music in some other territories. The terminology may vary, but
Vary,
then
yes, it
basically it's the
does.
same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is that's why for live events it would happen that way.
Yeah.
In terms of the broadcasters, which is a major aspect of the 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 status quo. Broadcasters, I think in St. Lucia and across the OECS, there's an agency called the NTRC, dealing with the broadcasters. They deal with the technical side of the broadcasters for your license. So you have to ensure that your frequency is not infringing on another one, that you meet all the requirements in terms of your equipment,
Yeah.
modernized
Transmit and
equipment,
site and
protection
yes,
kits,
yes.
all those things.
Yeah.
And then they make a recommendation to the ministry responsible for communication, and then they recommend either yay or nay, and then the ministry is who that gives the license to say, oh yes, you are authorized according, because you met all the requirements of
Yeah.
NTRC. But NTRC is technical, so then the administrative side of things would be the ministry would have it befalls the ministry to ensure that the broadcaster has the other aspect, which would be the license, the copyright license, and all the other things, and the ministry. So that is why we need to work in sync, and the ministry needs to make it mandatory that the whichever um company that wants the license renewed to ensure that they have the copyright license and all other licenses. So as it stands for live events, we have that happening in St. Lucia. The NTRC, the scenario I gave you, that basically I got that out of my engagement with the NTRC and the ministry. And so the subject, subjectivity is with the ministry or the PS, the permanent secretary, or the officers of the ministry, though. So they could say, well, okay, go ahead and give the license. It, what you need is a policies. You need MOUs between those agencies.
Yeah.
So ECHO is working in sync with Inland Revenue. We've signed an MOU with our Inland Revenue in St. Lucia. We are trying to do the same across the OECS, and
Yes.
that is why we need to speak to the authorities in St. Kitts and show that we are on the same, in the same ecosystem. We are working in sync for
I,
creating. That's why
I
you need to sign MOUs to try and achieve those things.
yeah.
As it stands, it's not really happening now.
I think what need to happen, we need to have an open dialogue, and I think that's where we should go. Open letter for us to frame it the right way, because we have a ministry of creative economy here, the orange economy, and orange economy cannot sustain itself without CMOs. They can't.
Nope.
They can't.
Nope. It's impossible.
So if you want to build a orange economy, you have to ensure that the necessary framework, and the foundation that is supposed to make everyone who come in after strive. So I think, if behind the scene letters not thing, take it to the public. Open letter, open discussion, and see what happened. Because sometime, it's not that we're doing it wrong. Because one of the biggest obstacle ECHO was facing in St. Kitts, and I can say it now, is everyone was talking about the approach. That is what everyone was talking about. And I'm not going to, Grace, no, I just tell her straight up, like, I know what you guys are doing is right, but how about this way, that way? We need to find ways of mean to soften, because what I realize that there's a lot of ego involved when it comes to certain things. And based on who is in power in certain aspect, certain things will never get done. So we need to try to find a way where we can have, because there's no secret in this. So let's have an open discussion.
Yep.
ECHO have right now. You guys have something that you guys never had before, and that give you guys leverage. And
what did we never have before?
The certification, the approval, the
Oh,
official
no.
approval.
There's probably a misunderstanding of the full.
One thing with me, I could only speak on the facts. Whether you guys was operating, whether you guys was operating for 10 years, what I'm saying, if the government, if the AG of St. Kitts and Nevis said something is now null and void, whether it's after 5 years, I'm going to go with that. But what I'm saying, you guys have something that is
just to clarity, just
yes.
to provide some clarity.
Yes.
Just to provide some clarity. ECHO was never illegal in St. Kitts and Nevis.
I didn't say you guys were. I didn't say you guys were. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We are only required to ensure that we meet all the provisions
Yes.
of the Companies Act.
Yes.
Under the right. And then in December 2024, the CMO regulations came into power. When the CMO regulations came in, we wrote to the Attorney General saying that we recognize some issues and we needed to discuss. The Attorney General never responded, but the CMO regulations we are supposed to adhere to it. But we wrote back through our attorney asking for the discourse and for us to discuss. It never happened.
Yeah.
And on the 27th of May, we received communication from the government really telling us that we have been disbanded.
Yeah.
And that was, I just needed to just put that clarity.
I know. But what I was trying to say, you guys have more power now to get things done. And I'm tasking Mr. James and Grace to come up with at least a 10 to to 20-point action plan between now and December. So we can have transparency, we can have the discussion, we can educate the masses of the do and don'ts. I know for sure that you
Much
guys
obliged,
I
much obliged.
I know for sure how it works. You guys take out a little something here for operational costs, but also legal affairs have an obligation to educate the masses on laws and stuff like that. So you guys need each other. So what I'm trying to say, behind the scenes not working. Behind the scenes it seems like it's ego and pissing contests and what's not. What I'm saying, take it to the public. Let's have a public discussion.
Yeah, but before
You
the
know?
public, we are going to still go ahead and continue to engage the government and engage, because we still have that responsibility to ensure that we meet all the requirements, and as well we still speak, at
Yeah,
those particular levels.
but
Because there are certain things that will come out in the public that, just for the public information that you could deal with, But I agree with you that if you are not going to be met with respect or any value, if you want to put it that way, or achieve, then you take it to the wider public.
we have to adjust to the norm.
Yeah.
The norm right now, even though we're supposed to be civil, I supposed to be able to write to Echo, question something, and Echo is supposed to be respectful enough to write back to me, even if I don't get the answer that I might be hoping for. They're supposed to. But what I'm saying, even though the government and Echo is going back and forth, the reason why the disconnect, the people who are responsible, the people who are going to gain more, are clueless to what's going on. So what I'm saying, if the two entities that is supposed to put the framework in place come out publicly and invite the necessary persons who are actually going to be benefit from it and educate them under one umbrella, if that don't work, then something really wrong with us. So that's the angle I'm trying to say. You guys have been trying it.
Fair enough. Much obliged.
You guys been trying it the right way behind the scenes, and it's not working, and it's not being effective enough to get people in compliance and get people understand.
I have to object because from what I've been doing, I have been trying to be more than just behind the scenes. But as you say, I have stumbling blocks.
Yep.
So, and that is why I was glad, and I told you that I was glad that I was able to come on this show to be able to get out there and say things, because unfortunately, I have been trying to
for years
to go out there and spread the word,
yes.
but I have stumbling blocks.
I know. So that's what I'm saying. We need to have the AG legal. We need to have the creative economy, Mr. Samuel Duggins, and we need to have dialogue with the stakeholders. That's all I'm trying to say,
No.
openly, and
Well,
then
you say the same thing we've been saying.
but
'cause that's what we
doing it, saying it now. What I'm saying, let's take the mantle. Let's decide in the next 3 months. This is what we're going to do. You can send an open letter to the AG, to the legal affairs, to the creative economy. We would like to have a discussion on the 28th of September, whatever date, we put it there, and we start from there. And I think if we start to do that, we are going to see the response in the audience. I think so. Because Echo can be over there fighting for the creatives, and the creative them don't even understand that Echo is actually really fighting for them. Some of them feel like Echo is against them. Number two, the promoters them sometimes feel like Echo is just target some of them, deliberately, because some people don't pay and some have to pay. So what I'm trying to say, I like to take the higher ground. I like to try to say, hey, look, let's reset. Let us make this thing work how it's supposed to work. Yes, this was wrong. Yes, this approach wasn't the best approach. So now this is the time that we have our certification to operate fully. Let's try something different. Because, for example, even in Nevis is disconnect to most of what's going on in Senkis when it comes to Echo as well. Even though I know you guys have made the effort to go over there and educate and stuff
there,
like that.
Yes, Grace, I've been there.
So I've seen it. But what I'm saying, we have yet to see the stakeholders them sitting together in one forum in unison, discussing what next, how we're going about it, who need to do what, the police, you catch what I'm saying. And I think that's the way we should go. We should choose to go.
Yeah. Well. This is
because if we try that and that don't work, then what else can we do? Because you guys been trying all the things, the legal way, right injunction here, and it's still not coming to fruit how it's supposed to be. Because, I mean, suppose my son want to become a producer.
Man,
I'm just saying,
you
and I'm fighting for that because I'm fighting for that, and I don't think a lot of people understand. Oh, it's not a rip off.
No, it's not a rip-off. And
It's an industry.
I had a conversation with one of our members yesterday, or day before yesterday, because it is so easy right now. We have made it so simple to register a song. You have a fillable form online. And can you imagine that a member is just now realizing that on the site that there's that form? So it's going to take, as you say, a lot of involvement from the very persons themselves who are to benefit to understand what's going on. The application form to become a member is also a fillable PDF online. It's so much simpler now.
What
and we are working to improve on that still, because we want to actually make it more interactive, where you could literally just do it online and press send, and as opposed to downloading and all that. So
I was just about to come to that part, but continue. Yes.
So there is no excuse for anybody not to register the material.
As I'm going to say again, Grace, we have been trying and doing and creating. It's time to take a different approach, because a lot of people do not know.
We have a group, you know.
They don't they don't. Oh, I hear people say, I sign up with Echo, but when they sign up with Echo or BMI, ASCAP or JCAP,
It's
in
the
a
same
matter.
problem. It's the same problem.
In a
on the ground.
matter. It doesn't matter. And even when you try to tell them that, they feel like, so the disconnect is that they.
I just want to just make 2 points before we. I want to talk about the distribution. I think you alluded to it earlier.
Yes.
And just a couple things. All you need now is one hit. Let's say you have one hit. All of us want to work to safeguard our children's future and our generations. All you need is one hit song to go and transcend, and that copyright intangible would go across the generations, my brother. And listen to me, you don't have to build a big mansion and try and do real estate and sell out, You see how the orange economy could actually set up, and it is so.
Kevin Little, I could go on and on. Kevin Little,
Man, what are you talking about?
I use he as an example because that song being re-recorded, I think it's 12 times in 12 different language, remix, and he's still caking from this.
That's right.
From the original song.
Man,
let me tell you, we need to do it. So I take your point, and we have recognized internally that we needed to change our strategy and to improve on our outreach to our members themselves and all that. And the very last meeting we had after we to inform the members of all the situation that was going on in St. Kitts and Nevis, the attendance was remarkable. And we had just finished an AGM. It was dismal, and then the attendance was remarkable. For that, we are grateful, and we want to show this is a step. Come and listen to your business. Come and hear. Listen to me. You could put out all the news, put out all the information and everything, and somebody decide not to turn on the radio.
I know.
They will not.
We know. We know.
Let's go.
We know.
Let's go into the distribution.
Yes.
We paid out in excess of 1 million EC dollars. Okay, and that was for the period 2023. One of the situations that presented itself with ECHO was that we were a bit behind with our distributions.
Yeah.
So as such, you would find a large distributable amount, and we were a couple of years behind. So our last distribution was for 2023, where we paid out over in excess of 1 million. And 44% of that, and we saw, although the status quo or the narrative remains the same in St. Kitts elections and what have you, when we came in, we changed our strategy. So we adopted a new strategy, and that is why we were able to pay out more. Okay, and that payout, 44%, remained with our ECHO members across the OECS, of course. And you would find the persons who put in the work, the persons when they put in the work who are out there and doing a lot more would be the recipients of a bigger chunk. You understand of that amount. Then the other 56% was paid out to our foreign societies.
Yeah.
So that would include our reciprocal affiliates. That actually spoke well for the payout because it has been a while we've not paid out so much to our members. Okay, what lent itself really to that collection was some broadcasters who paid, not in St. Kitts, of course. Okay, across the OECS, we're talking about across the OECS. So you have no broadcasters compliant in St. Kitts and Nevis. In Antigua, we have one cable company in Antigua. In Grenada, non-compliant. In St. Vincent, non-compliant. In Dominica, non-compliant. In St. Lucia, we have a few of them, a good few that are compliant. Okay? But in terms of paying, we only collected from 4 radio stations, 5. Well, 4 in St. Lucia and 1 in Antigua.
Wow.
So that was broadcast. That's the unfortunate facts you're talking about, the unfortunate reality of what it is. If what the monies we pay against St. Kitts and Nevis is the monies we collect from St. Kitts and Nevis, we take off our admin expenses and we pay it against the data we receive in St. Kitts and Nevis. And that would mean local creators as well as international and foreign, wherever across the world. So that narrative, you would appreciate, needs to change.
Yeah.
So the more you collect, the more local you play, or the more you remain within your local setting, the more that stays in your orange economy. The more of the orange economy gives back, the more it stays, the better it is. So out of that, a very small percentage, and we still have some monies there because the members refuse to come and register the songs. We still have, so a very small percentage.
Yeah, I'm still working on that. I have a few artists and a few band members I've been trying to talk to for years upon years.
At least that, when they hear our interview and when they see what's happening in St. Kitts and Nevis, that should give them a jolt. That at least should jolt them to say, hey boy, take your business serious. Wake up and smell the coffee, brother.
But before I forget, I want to ask you a question.
Right.
The payout that was paid this year is for payment for 2023, you said, right?
That was the period 2023.
So the question I'm going to ask you now, what mechanism need to put in place and from an eco standpoint to ensure that payment can be can make, whether it's quarterly or every 6 months, what needs to get done? Right? Because based off this small amount you guys are collecting over a period of time, you guys actually, so 2-part question.
Right. So the first part is we paid 2023 because we were behind. We are paying 2024 by end of year. So 2024 we are going to be fully compliant because what we did, we paid biannually to bring us compliant. Okay. I'm fully up to date. Sorry, not compliant. Up to date. So we'll be paying 2024, the period 2024 by end of December this year.
End of December. I'm holding you guys to that because I'm gonna say grace.
No. It will be done.
I'm just saying, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, right? I am a very fair person. As much as you say I'm lobbying for Echo, if Echo drop the bucket, I'm gonna ask the question. I'm gonna ask a tough question. So I'm straight up. So by December 31st, 2025, 2024. Okay.
2024 distribution will be paid before by year end.
And going forward after 2024,
we are paying the board now. We have a board meeting next week, and I'm saying the board now, we are going to go with data, going to go with information, and go with collections. If you make a biannual, let's say we need the collections to improve. You understand? Collections must improve. If the collections improve and persons could get a tangible amount, you understand, in terms of the royalties based on all the other everything considered, then you go ahead and you make it. But if I pick up negligible royalties for you. It would be best that you get a one payout that would at least
Yes,
something.
I
So,
understand that.
so,
Yeah.
so we are looking at biannual is always a good one, but it might be annual. We're not sure. Echo
Yeah.
will announce based on our distribution rules. We will announce that.
Um,
But what I could tell you is by end of by January 1st, we will
Yeah.
be fully up to date. Where we'll be ready to pay the 2025, not
Okay.
in January, but we'll be. 2026 because you paid a year after, right?
Yeah.
Because you paid your financials the year before.
Yeah.
So in 2026, we'll be fully ready to make the payout for 2025,
Okay,
which would be correct.
Okay. My suggestion, in anything that we do, once we have a deadline, things end up working out better.
Oh, that works well for us.
So I am
That works well for us.
tasking Echo again to find a way, whether it's going to be annually or every 6 months, to come up with a fixed date.
No, my sir. No.
it can't
no,
work
no,
like
you
that?
see, No, it can't work like that. What I will tell you is, in some instances, let's say, okay, there was this what's it? That CMO that paid out 2 billion something dollars, and they put the admin rate is 10%, which is 300 million. 10%, 300 million admin rate. That is more than our respective economies put together, if you want to put it that way.
Yes, I understand that.
And
But
we are CSAC considers us in the same light as them.
Okay.
So we are recognizing, and they could give fixed dates because they collect millions and
yes.
billions.
But the reason
with
why I
us-
say that, we have to, what I'm trying to say, we need to operate in our environment, in how our environment see things. Everything. No, I'm not saying it can't. I'm not going
it
against
can
it.
happen.
I
It
am just
can
showing
happen.
you like how to take different approach to get
Yeah.
people to come on board to realize what you guys are doing is something
I
great,
think the
is
first
something
approach-
wonderful. But go
We
ahead.
appreciate that. The
Yes.
first approach is to ensure that the collections and the respect for IP and copyright is there. I think this is the first one. As long as this comes, because Echo is obligated to operate within a particular global guideline. We cannot operate, we don't operate in a silo. So
Okay.
at the end of the day, whether, because they give you a leeway to do annual or biannual or quarterly, whatever, as long as the collections
Is done.
meet those
Right.
requirements. You
Okay.
understand?
Okay.
So these are what we're doing. So whilst I appreciate what you're saying,
Okay.
we're saying to you that we are amenable to the best fix. We are amenable
Okay.
to making sure
Okay,
that
good.
the creative, but the first order business is
Okay.
collections and ensure
Then
that things improve.
The
Yes,
next
that's-
question before I make a next statement to the reason why I said what I said.
Yes.
Prior to 2023, when was the last payment made by Echo?
Oh, 21 and 22.
Okay.
We made in the last 2 years, we've made 21, 22, 23, and then we just do 23 and we did 24. Because, so that's what I'm saying. So
Okay.
after COVID, you found a lot of,
Right.
there was a lot of and COVID, you know what COVID did?
Yes.
COVID destroyed a lot and quite a lot
And
of
reset
things.
and reset a lot
And
too.
Right.
reset
Yeah.
a lot. So then we made, it was 2019 that was paid. 2019 before COVID, and it went straight into COVID, and then coming out of COVID was very challenging.
Okay.
And then that's why we fell behind. And
Okay.
then now
Because-
we
and
got
so-
up to speed.
So
And
what
then
I'm going to
20
say again, based on me, I'm the type of person that people comes to because they have been seen. Some people even think I work for Echo, to be honest with you.
Well, I feel we should
People-
we should probably continue working for Echo.
You know, people
We
feel
appreciate
so.
that.
The reason why I'm asking is people come to me and ask me questions, and people say, "Oh, Flames, look there,
Man,
2022,
send them to the-
2022."
get them Echo-
I
get
know
them Echo
they like
information,
to say, "Look, the year almost done. We're not gonna pay out 2023 done." So I'm saying these things like when people don't understand certain things and they don't see deadlines and they don't understand how
Willful
it works.
ignorance.
You know, they are going to spill negative thing, and it goes from one to the next, and then you hear artists saying, "I mean, nothing with Echo," you know, and I don't like that. So the reason why I'm dropping these little things for you guys to look at is because this is what being said.
What I could interject here is that what I have been trying to encourage members to do, the ones who are benefiting, because they're very silent. I'm telling them, I can't go and broadcast your business. You have signed an agreement with the
Yes.
organization. It's between you and the organization. If you don't say how you're benefiting, then people won't know.
Yeah.
Open your mouth,
Yeah.
talk and say something.
And some are benefit wholesomely and they
Yes,
don't say nothing. They
exactly.
don't encourage.
Right.
You know, so you guys are Echo have a lot of groundwork to do, and all I can do based on what the information I've gathered over the years, I think that will be the effort, the collective effort with Legal Affairs, Echo, the big names in the stakeholder, the small names in the in the diaspora, to come together under one umbrella, have a dialogue of the do's, the don't, and even the business places, because the business places need to understand that, hey, not because you got YouTube in your bar and you're gonna turn on it and you play music from there, you're using it to bring people to your place to make money.
But
Once you're
as you
using
mentioned,
people content to make money, you're supposed to pay something towards it. I think
yeah,
we have a
but can I-
caller.
Can I just add? Can I just
One
add
second,
to
I think we have a caller.
Okay.
Hello.
So cool.
Yeah, good morning, man. How you
Good
guys
morning.
doing today, man?
We're doing
We're
fine.
good.
Good.
Yeah, pretty good. How you doing? How you guys doing today? Good?
We're good.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Lovely.
Yeah. Nice to see the guy Flames came out from behind the shadow and is now on the screen. I think Flames. I think you have a lot to contribute.
Mm-hmm.
From one time when I heard you and you was talking on the Island Tea when somebody was absent,
Yes.
and I'm really happy that you're now. I don't know if you're going to continue in this vein, but
Yeah.
I would encourage you, man, to come forward with you.
Yeah, I put in my toe in the water because it's a good thing, eh? It's a good thing, and
Yeah.
I always try to do
Yeah.
what is best for the industry that I'm in, because it's music make me what I am today. Music. I'm a
Yes,
DJ.
yes,
I'm a DJ.
yeah.
I'm not an artist or a producer. I'm a DJ, but I understand what artists and producers go through and writers go through to be able to create something for me to go somewhere and charge a $500 or $1,000 or $2,000 and make money, and knowing within my heart that the guys them who created this stuff that I'm using to make money is home scratching the head, ain't getting nothing. I'm using the content to make money, and that is why I took my stand. When I understand what CMO does and they understand the music industry, I continue to educate everyone who I come around. Some people don't want to hear it, but thanks for that.
Yeah, but it's good, and I want to thank you for contributing. You got a good knowledge of the industry, and and your personal experiences. And I want you to come forward every time when you can, and help to educate the public.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me go forward real quickly because I know time is of the essence. We see over on the Nevis side. I'm going to put something in the conversation that you guys might not want in the conversation, but we saw over in Nevis the bands are performing during Culturama, and a big issue has arrived over on the Nevis side. There's a band they call Odyssey. It was on the podcast last night, or Monday night, sorry, explaining to the public the frustrations that they've been going through, performing for the Culturama Committee and not getting paid. And contracts, the committee is discouraging the band from signing contracts with them. And the lady who's on the studio right now, and other guests that's there, I don't know if they could chime in with this. I don't know if Echo is any part to have anything to do with that, because we are now talking about the workplace environment, and we are talking about music and the creative economy that we're talking about.
Yeah. So two things there. Number one, Echo.
Yes, we have two members of the band who are Echo members.
Yes. The next thing too, we have a creative economy issue in St. Kitts. We have something called an orange economy. If you are going to say we're building an orange economy for St. Kitts and Nevis, and the government on a whole, I'm not bashing anyone, this is just factual. The government as a whole, who sometimes hire most of the entertainers, are taking 3 months, 6 months, and a year to pay you for an event. How you survive? Like,
Exactly.
I am not into any politics with anyone. I'm straight up. If I have 4 contracts that I do the first week of every month, and those contracts is going to wait 2 months to pay me, how do I provide for my family? This is what.
But also understand that the organization with this issue over there, Nevis, is discouraging the bands from signing contracts, and that can't be.
No, the
They're
organize.
not-
Okay, let me say something. Nobody's discouraging anyone. If you send a contract to somebody and they don't want to sign a contract, you don't do business with them. Simple. That's it. You can't want to tell me you cannot want to hire my service. I sent you a contract and you're gonna say, oh, you're not signing any contract. By you not signing my contract, that means that you're already trying to stiff me. So why would I do business with you? The problem we have in St. Kitts and Nevis when it comes to entertainment is not a government issue. We are our worst enemies. You know why? Because if Adisi pull out, 3 other bands is going to pull in to get the shine for the name. And then those same bands are artists, are entertainers. And I can speak from experience, are going to come and hear on the radio or whenever, or they post something, oh, no, I can't get my culture and my money. Or me, this money and that money. So we don't have a structure problem when it comes to government. We have a structure problem when it comes to us as entertainer. Because if Flames say $1,500, 50% deposit, someone is going to go, that same promoter entity will go to somebody and say, but I try to book Flames, and Flames want to charge me $1,500 and he want deposit. Oh, Flames there for poor people. This been said about me for years. For years I've been trying to educate the masses. Let we do contract. Let we do things professionally. Let we get a deposit. But no, it's not about the deposit. It's about your name and a flyer. People doesn't meet me in the street to this. People doesn't meet me in the street to this and ask if I still play music. I do play music, but I do it mostly on a contract. Whether it's a little with Park Hyatt for the season, whether it's with Soho Lounge every Wednesday, I do contract. So we don't have a government problem paying people. We have a problem with we as entertainer is not doing what we're supposed to do, and other entertainers go behind each other back and undermine the structure that one or two is trying to build. So I'm going to be honest with you. What is happening in Nevis? What is happening in Nevis has nothing to do with Culturama. I am not blaming Culturama. I'm not blaming the government anymore. I'm blaming we as entertainers. That's my mouthful for that.
Public,
yeah.
So for the general public, they need to take a note that you have made a slight clarity or correction in terms of the organization is not discouraging contract.
No.
Let me make that. Let the public know that it's not
the problem I have is when we're trying to find people to blame and blame ourselves. That's it.
And then lastly, before I get off, some point recently, I think from the government side, they were saying that the ECHO is operating and they were not properly licensed.
No, that was just word. I'm going to let the CEO of ECHO explain that to you so you understand it from his point of view. And hey, Nevis people and other Siban, I commend you guys how you're doing. I'm not against what you guys are doing. I'm just saying I am not going to be blaming anyone who don't want to sign a contract with me. I'm going to say that person is not to be trusted, so I don't want to do business with that person. That's the stand I would take. Okay, so the stand that Odyssey take, they're correct to take that stand because you got to protect what is yours.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let I'm going to let Mr. James explain to you.
We'll wait for that response. Yeah,
yes.
Wait for that response.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it, and have a good day.
All right. Mr. James, sorry about that. The gentleman would like you to explain.
I think the question was a bit faint. What was the last point you made about ECHO, not what?
He was talking about our compliance.
Oh, Grace, you could go right ahead and just...
as was explained, I suppose he wasn't listening to the program
earlier. Yeah.
To say that we have received our certificate of compliance.
Authorization already.
Right.
So basically, it's just that to ensure that what you guys are supposed to be doing, you guys are doing it, and to send it off. They look at it, they assess it, it's in compliance with their mandate set out in front of them, and they sign off on it. I think we have another caller. Yeah. Hello, morning, voices. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're talking about ECHO and various issues when it comes to copyright. You would like to make a contribution?
Copyright. That again. That again.
Yes.
Years now that we did things about copyright, you know.
Yeah. Well, it balance out now.
To the listeners home and abroad.
Good morning.
Yes. I keep asking, right? Remember, sorry, that's the gate slam. remember, they had sent out all kind of letters threatening radio station, DJs, and all kind of thing that if they play people songs, they're going to have to pay copyrights and had everybody frightened and shaking in the boots and trembling like an earthquake. Well, since then, thousands of songs has released and performance and all kind of thing under this echo copyright. Where is the people benefit because all the radio station, all the DJs, all the entertainers, bars, everything still playing all the same songs them that they say was under the echo copyright. So what they form this organization for? Who is collecting the money? Who is dishing it out? What percentage and of how much time these entities play these people's songs? What percentage of that you have to pay? And how much percentage Echo get? And how much percentage the artist get?
Okay, I'm going to allow what you call Mr. James, the CEO of Echo and Grace, to come in. But before, I want to say something. Not because the law is not enforced and music is playing here, there, and everywhere, and nobody is paying, means it's right, or it's legal. No, what I'm saying to you, okay, you're saying trembling. What Echo did, maybe even the approach, maybe not welcoming to a lot of people. They did nothing wrong, because there are laws on the book of St. Kitts and Nevis when it comes to these things. People the authorities turn in the blind eye when it comes to the law, and people doing it don't make it right. And we continue to do a lot of things in St. Kitts and Nevis in the wrong manner for so long. That's when the right things come along for us to do or adjust to, we're gonna have a problem with it. That's just been the problem from the get-go.
Yeah. Well, I could make a statement on that. What is happening? We have lawmakers that goes into the parliament and make the laws. The people that they give to govern
and enforce
and execute the law is not doing the job, but yet they get paid every 2 weeks, every month.
Thank you. So I'm going to allow Grace and Mr. James to give you some clarification to your questions, and then if anything, you can come back in. All right?
Yeah.
All right, Carl.
Okay, I think you've touched on the first part in terms of there is legislation, and thank you very much, caller, for your question. I take it you spoke quite passionately, about how what Echo did and where's and the questions you ask, and they are fair questions. They are very fair questions, and I think as we've indicated, just let me let you know that Echo is duly recognized by the laws of St. Kitts and Nevis, because we have fulfilled all the requirements of the respective laws. Echo is a non-profit, so Echo do not make profit on anything. Echo is recognized as the collection agency and administering the rights for the creatives across the OECS, including St. Kitts and Nevis. Echo takes off its admin costs, and for 2023 we were at 31%. Okay, for 2024 we have those figures already. We had 44%. Admin, you do your budget and your admin costs and all those things would come out based on your collections. So what you collect, licensing is what that drives your budgeting and all that. So when we collect the money, we take off our admin costs, and all the rest of the money goes to the rights holders. So Flames might, as he just said, he's not a songwriter, he's not a creator in that sense. He's a player, but he's not a creator. So he might decide to be a creator, and the three of us and yourself, four of us decide to write a song, we put the music to it, and we give it to Jane Fire to sing. Jane Fire will be known for that song, but the song belongs to the four of us. So Echo now would be the one to administer those rights. And when you collect those monies based on the splits, then the four of us will get our monies, and that's how we get paid. Okay, that's royalties. That's for the copyright side, the performance side of things. In terms of the Echo putting out the information, I think Flames, you said it. The approach, anytime persons are okay to go, persons have been doing something for years free of charge and with no hassle whatsoever. That doesn't mean it was right, but they've been doing it. The custom, they get used to it. It would be very difficult to have them to change, and maybe that was what that took place. So, Echo is non-profit, my kind sir. Echo administers those rights, and as it stands, there are no broadcasters in St. Kitts and Nevis who are compliant. Even whilst we are presenting everything there, no broadcasters. That is against the law altogether. So you might hear your song. If they're not paying, you will not get compensated. You will hear a song, you do not give the data, you do not register it, you will not get, because it's a science to it, there's a lot, and I would allow Grace to jump in as well, just to maybe add if anything.
You have to, in order to benefit as a creator, you first have to let us know of the birth of the work. If you don't register the birth of the child, then we'll not know of the existence of the child. So you have to register the birth. So you fill out a notification of works form, and you send it to us, and it goes into our system. That's how it's tracked, right? Remember that a song cannot just sit down and gather money. It has to be in use. So various users, whether it's bars, shops, hotels, radio stations, cable entities, anybody who is using the work, right, you get a chance to make money. But further to that, the usage has to be reported as well, because I could register my song with Echo, and it's played on XYZ radio station or XYZ FET, and then the information does not get back to us that it was used at that event. And of course, that event or that station has to be licensed, because that is where the money will come from to pay you, right? So when the user pays the license fee is what goes towards paying the royalties. So there are a lot of things that have to be in place for persons to benefit. Everything has to work as it's supposed to. You can't leave out one step of the process.
Yeah, but we'd still advise them to go on www.eccorigHTS.org, and you'll get some information there. And I'm certainly sure, Grace, you'll give them your information as well, your number, so they can always call and clarify. Back to you, Mr. Flames.
Yes, so we have about 90 minutes.
Oh, let me, the gentleman speaking about Culturama. We have to get back to that.
Oh, yes.
Right. And you were saying that you don't really blame Culturama and the committee, but I want to make a little addition.
Are they in compliance?
Okay, that question. I would say that we have been communicating with the Culturama committee through the legal representative for the NIA, and we have been in communication with them for Culturama last year, and also trying to find out what's happening with licensing for Culturama for this year. So I would say that the same situation that we're facing with Music Festival for last year is the same situation that we're facing with Culturama for last year. So I would have monitored everything, and we have not seen any kind of headway with that. So it's the same. Unfortunately, it's the same situation.
And you know who's taking licks in that, if I may just interject?
The persons, the local creators, because their works are majority used at that time.
Not Echo.
What they don't realize is that, say for example, I had a troop on the road last year, and I don't know if it's going to become where it's going to be individually that person have to pay, or it's going to be through Carnival. I'm not sure. But I had a troop on the road last year with my a business partner of mine. And when you invest your money, I'm just saying, if you use a band member, you have a band and you're jamming on the road, and you have, say, $250,000 worth of equipment on that truck performing, and the troop you're playing for is not paying Echo, you end up burning out your speakers, burning out your amp and them stuff there. you know, that little money coming from Jamaica could help you, you know, compensate, you know, to iron out stuff. So I don't think people really understand or really see the impact of what registering your music and ensuring that the licensed are paid. And that is why I continue to say we need to have this public forum, because once things is online, it's not going anywhere. No, people can take snippet out of it.
Right.
Once we can show them specifically the return on the investment, because some people just do it as a hobby. Some people just do it as a hobby. So if everybody is doing it as a hobby during carnival time, but we play international music, we're not saying, you know, we're playing international music, and then carnival start to pay. Just saying, you know, carnival start to pay for us to be on the road. I'm just saying, are the band members them start to pay, or the band, the troop leaders start to pay, right? And we're paying. You're not registering your music. You don't copyright your music. Your music is being played, but the foreign music isn't played. Where the bulk of that money gonna go? Into the register music that is original or?
Well,
I'm just saying. So no, this is I try to paint the picture that sometimes that's how you gotta do. You have to break it down for a lot of people to understand.
Listen to that. Let me go further. Whilst we are there trying to get Culturama to take on their license legally according to the law and get the music fest to make sure that they do it, and all other users in St. Kitts, guess what? We signed an MOU. I think St. Lucia signed an MOU, but the president of Nigeria was in St. Lucia representing the OECS, and there's and I heard your prime minister speaking to the collaboration and how it's going to improve direct trade and all those interactions and engagement with Nigeria, right, with the African economy, and that is very good, and I really want to commend them. Here's what Nigeria did. Nigeria didn't just recognize the value of the orange economy. Nigeria went further and they put two other agencies to support the CMOs in Nigeria. One would be to ensure that I think copyright commission, they call it a copyright commission, to ensure that everybody's in compliance, and the other one would help with whichever department you say, like, to make sure that if there's conflict, you know, and all those things, to go for like a tribunal kind of thing. But all was in the interest of making sure that the CMOs and the whole orange economy works well. They went further to create something called a quota system. And the quota system says that 70% of all music broadcast in Nigeria must be Nigerian content. And by Nigerian content, it means whether you collaborate with somebody else, as long as it have Nigerian in there, it is Nigerian content. And the other 30% goes out to whichever other broadcasters. And here's what it caused 2.5% of an increase to the GDP. The orange economy, only that strategy within 1 year. So at the end of the day, we don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
All we need to do is to ensure that we do it in the best interest of our creatives, and everybody else will fall in line, because that is how it happens. We need to collaborate, and I want to encourage our members to continue doing good music. Some of them needs improvement. Because they don't go maybe the studios, the quality and what have you. But St. Kitts is not shy of top of the line music. Quality music, man.
Yes, it's been that's something that I'm glad.
Major improvement.
Yeah, it's been improved, because when I remember I make a statement and said, look, I can't be getting music off of YouTube. I can't be getting music WhatsApp through my phone. I like to go to a central unit to get my music,
quality,
you know, get quality. And I used to say it, and when they try to upload the music on Apple Music and they realize they refuse it, then they realize what I was talking about. The quality of the music is important too as well.
Yeah. You know, but there's something you said I just wanted to just piggyback on. You said about using YouTube and the other platforms in the restaurants and in the places, and they making monies off it. Here's what, sir. And I challenge anyone who have a Spotify account to read the fine print. It says for domestic use, not to be used for profit,
Yeah.
for domestic use. So you have restaurants and you have places that just they would pay for a Spotify account, pay for a Spotify account, and refuse to get a copyright
Yeah.
license that goes
Yeah.
directly
Yes.
to the
Yes.
person. And you're
Yeah.
illegally using the Spotify that you're using to play music in your stuff. It's supposed to be for domestic at your home, in your vehicle, not in your business place. You know,
Yeah.
and these are the laws, and persons will not understand that. People will see it as ridiculous, but that is why you need
It's
the
not.
discussion with
It's
the
not
government.
because even the sites I subscribe. I think Grace went through it with a fine tooth comb. You have the entity that I use to get my music from. They have to pay something, but some CMOs or some creatives do not allow third-party distribution of the music.
That's very true.
So you cannot get it off of iTunes. You cannot get it from a DJ pool. You know, especially Chris Brown music. Like I used to get his music, but things have changed, and I realized in order for me to get Chris Brown music now, I probably have to go and buy his actual CD to get his music. Or if I go on Apple Music and it's there, I pay for it. But the
Actual
subscription
download. That's
fee
why you
that
gotta go direct.
so the subscription fee that I have to get certain music, certain artists realize they're losing money from that, so they don't dabble into it.
That's it. That's it.
You know, so there's a different stage that you can actually control your own music that you put out there. Once you register, you give the CMO the instruction to do what they gotta do.
If you are not a member of a CMO, you still will not be able to collect from some of the platforms that
Yeah,
you use.
exactly.
You will not be able to
Yeah.
use it because you must be a member of a
Yeah.
CMO. So
Yeah.
when you go on Spotify pays 0.03 per streaming. 0.03.
Yeah,
You know what?
it's ridiculous.
But if you have to wait, so you must have millions
Of stream,
of
yeah.
streams
But the person who
until you
owns
get
it is making billions.
$100. So guess what? And your song not making the rounds, your song not doing, you think you're going to be making anything from that? No. So you need the business, you need to understand the language, you need to understand what to do. And then to go further, you have BMI now. BMI is for profit.
For profit, yes.
Yep.
BMI is no longer a non-profit. BMI.
That is what I said earlier. Yes, they want the money, and since
I'm saying to you,
I have the report here.
BMI, so I look forward to the day that these guys are going to start. Not look so. Let me take that back. I dread the day. I dread the day that they are going to sue users in the Eastern Caribbean for the use of their music or their copyright or their members' works without the permission. I am telling you, this thing is in the making.
I don't.
We have been summoned to meetings. You know, I'm telling you, this thing is in the making. That is why we need to ensure that we cover our base and we do everything within the legal parameters.
Grace and I does talk about this on a regular. Like it seems like somebody have to get we call them love letter. Look like somebody have to get a love letter in St. Kitts for them to hand from an outside entity, and then they realize that you gotta cough up $1 million. Because I tell people, you know, when it comes to this copyright infringement, you never hear 100,000. It's millions you always hear
they
about.
don't joke.
You know,
And listen to that.
and since
even our local songs, sometimes we take the melodies and to do the soca songs and some of the songs, we take the melodies of the big players.
yes,
It's
Yes.
there.
yes.
And
One
we
te-
just take it and go.
Yeah, and I had in my notes, just in regard to that, to direct people to section 116 of the Copyright Act, because that is very interesting. Because all of this, taking a sample from somebody's song and making it part of your own song with your lyrics and music. Section 116 of the Copyright Act tells you clearly that you're doing something very, very wrong.
And Grace, to add to it, if the song don't make a hit, or just a little within a little geographic hit, you know, if to use that term, it might not go anywhere.
Yeah.
Just let the song hit the waves and go far.
But
Then
some people don't even care about that. They don't care. It's like, yo, I work so hard to put this together, and then you come and just expect to piggyback off it. I'm gonna teach you a lesson.
Yep.
Exactly.
So we have to be careful. So I agree with you. The challenge is real, We are there. What we are doing there is part of it as well,
Yeah.
in terms of being on the air and doing what we need to do. And we also look forward to the day when um, um, all the broadcasters and everybody upon renewal of the broadcast license, that they would get the echo license. That's a no-brainer.
We have to do a follow-up, because what I was trying to do for this episode of Voices, I wanted Grace, yourself, a member from the police force, and also a member from legal affairs. However, Gian, she cannot be with us today because of some personal circumstances, but I will try to do a follow-up where that we have, as I said, it's this thing, I on this side, you on this side, and me in the middle. We need to done with that. We need to finish with that, and we need to sit down like men and women at the table, from the creative economy, from the Ministry of the Creative Economy, that's Samuel Luggins, because this is under his umbrella, and I'm not throwing anyone under the bus, but I need to see more of him, and I need to see things put in place to ensure that you're protecting and securing the orange economy, because you campaign an orange economy, and we need to be structured.
Let it manifest.
Yeah, it needs to be structured. So I will try to see if I can set up another interview we have all the heads at the table, and then after that we try to see if we can do a public forum with everyone at the head table. This is not about ego. This is not about who have power. This is about doing something collectively to structure the orange economy in St. Kitts and Nevis, because we are struggling. We are struggling. I mean, I am a DJ and I'm making more money than an artist. How is that possible? How is that possible? Meaning that we are playing out more. The music is playing, but they're not getting anything from the music. So
something,
if
Mr.
they don't go
Flames?
and perform on a stage, they don't get any money. But yet, me could go in the club every weekend, playing the local music, making money. But the producer, the songwriter, and the artist is not making any money. That's not fair.
What is the sad thing, right, is that there is this perception, and some people try to make it real, that there is this division, there's this confusion, all of that. But there's no confusion, Mr. Flames, because there's one document, or two, if you want to call it civil regulations. There's one major document that has been with us, right? Even since we were a colony of Britain, because under Britain we fell under the Copyright Act of Britain, right? Right? And now in our independence, we are now having our own Copyright Act. We have been subject to this kind of regulation since we were a colony. And the sad thing is that the information was not shared repeatedly with the public from that time until now. And the framers of those laws, right, and the representatives of those framers of the law should have been taking the lead and letting the public know about the content of this of the act. If you can do it with all kinds of other legislation, right? Why can't we do it with the Copyright Act? Why can't we be out there hammering the Copyright Act into the minds of the public?
That is true.
So, Grace, you're so correct. Just one little analogy, Flames. So imagine you have a studio, right? You have a studio. Somebody breaks and enters your place without your permission. That would be breaking and entering. So you are going to call the police. When you look for one of your devices, you see it's missing. Let's just say your device is not missing. You are still going to call the police. They'll do the fingerprint. They'll do whatever against a criminal offense. Why you use that same studio, you produce your song, you do everything, you put it out, and somebody decide to take it and use it without your express permission? Why is it any different from the same studio I'm talking about, same producer?
Yeah.
It's not different, brother.
Yeah.
It's still theft. It's still theft. It's still, something that is infringing on your right.
Yeah.
If you look at it that way, one might be deemed lesser in your opinion, but there are laws to guide both of them, and that's why we need it to be in sync, and we need to understand the whole scenario.
Yeah, we're going to wrap up, but we have one final call before we go. Pleasant good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, hello. Good morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Morning to you.
Greetings in Jesus' name. Now,
Greetings.
to all. Now, what I'm going, I tune in very, very late. As a matter of fact, I just tune in actually. So I hope
You have
I'm
3
not
minutes.
asking a question.
You have 3 minutes, yeah.
Yes, I hope I'm not asking a question that has already been answered. But what about fair use? Do this act recognize fair use?
Yes, it does.
Can you please explain it? And how does it recognize fair use?
Okay, well,
Thank you.
I can't explain that in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
That would have to be a whole different
Whatever
conversation.
little you could do, whatever little you could do.
Okay, so I can't remember
That's
the
the extent of the question. Just see if you have another question.
Right. Oh, he's
No,
gone.
he's gone. Yeah, he just wanted
Okay.
to know about the
Yeah.
fair use.
So what I can do, if I can give you my information, I'll give my information at the conclusion of the program. And what we can do is I can actually send you a copy of the act and highlight the section, because it's not a short section. It's a fairly long section, and I can send that. But basically, there are certain instances, certain uses of copyright material that you can use the copyright material without infringing.
Like?
For example, if Mr. Flames is doing a
Commentary?
a commentary or
Yes.
news story, and he
Or
was
criticizing the
right,
music.
right, and he's a snippet of
Yes.
something,
Yes.
right? That is fair use. Right? So-
Teaching,
right.
research, stuff like that.
So-
But it's a long.
It has a time to it, though. It has a time.
Yes.
Right. Not
Yes.
full content,
I-
but you can use snippets of it. And
Right.
Yeah.
So we-
that's the provision that is made for, you know. And some persons really abuse it and think that you could just use, because the synchronization, you know. Okay, there was an incident where a politician was taken to task for using somebody's song in his campaign. He just used and then he synced. He did his video. He took the song and then he did a video and he just put the song in the background. He was sued for that.
Yeah.
He was sued for that.
Yeah.
Right there. Because you cannot, not because it's the political season and you're showing the work you've done and you've done all that, you could just use somebody's
You can't.
without
You
it.
can.
And no CMO could give you those rights. I think Grace alluded.
Right.
They have
It has to be from the creator.
organization
Yeah.
rights, moral
Yeah.
rights, and those things. Just the same one like what happened in Trinidad. There's a moral right.
Yes.
At the end of the day,
But-
ECHO cannot say
but-
we're going to give you.
But do you know that a lot of corporations know this? Because when you're doing business, they have. When you're doing business, when you go to school to study for business, that isn't it about copyright infringement and law?
Yes, they do. But
So
I
then
mean,
a lot of them know, but it just because the law is not being enforced, what
And-
thing happen?
right, and as you said, because persons are not knowledgeable, they take advantage.
And people who have the knowledge is not going to make anybody else aware. It's just like
Right.
it's just like if you're going to take, say, for example, Infamous have a hit song and they decide they want to use it for the tour. And like, me love think it's bad. If the tourism department decide they're going to take up Infamous song to use it along the line, they have to talk to Infamous.
First, before they come to
Before they
us.
can do it, you
Yes.
can't just do it, and because you're talking about Senki, you decide to just take it up and you do a commercial, it's gonna run for an entire year, and Infamous to feel happy that's because the music that they use in his mind.
Even
You know?
during, just quickly, even during the situation where the CMO regulations we were not in full adherence, right?
Mhm.
We had users of music
Mhm.
that have had the annual licenses that ask that their licenses be renewed. And all we did, because they know too well that despite what was happening
Mhm.
with the government or the authorities, that they know too well that
Yeah.
you cannot use
Yeah.
copy, because they deal with international agencies and they deal with it.
Yes.
Right.
And they still went ahead and sent the applications and
Yeah.
they still send the stuff. And we just told them, well, we are just waiting. Let's just make sure
Yeah.
that everything goes well, because we
Right.
don't have no problem. And everything falls smack down back in line.
Yeah.
And that's what we would have loved for the government to do with the festival and all that. You understand? Because everything is in the interest of working it and making sure it settles nicely. You understand?
Yeah.
So there are persons who are fully aware and they know that despite the way things are working out,
Mhm.
that they still have to get the permits and all that.
Yeah. Mr. James, it's been a pleasure. And I'm tasking you and Grace with that public forum. I'm going to do my part to get you know, the AG or someone from the Legal Affairs, Grace again, yourself, and someone from the police department. I don't know if the police department, the police force have any copyright, what do you say, not agency, copyright department. I'm not sure, but they're supposed to. Because I know back then a lot of people used to sell DVDs and stuff like that. I know at one point they was cracking down on that. So I think they should have electoral property department in the police force. And that's why I said I want to sit down with everyone and have a civilized conversation of what next.
We'd like to have our lawyer, our attorney on board as well.
Sure, no problem. Even better. Because as I said, and once everyone having the clear understanding, then you can build a framework that everyone can look forward to, and we start a new slate.
Indeed.
You know. So thank you guys for to listening to Voices. This episode was all about ECHO and various issues and the compliance certification. I may say the authorized certification to operate fully legally. They wasn't operating illegally, but I'm just saying legally now. They're bound to ensure that they govern themselves and the government sign off on that. So if the government said yes, everything, the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, then ECHO is good to go. It's just for us now to educate the masses and for the creative to understand that their work, you know, have money attached to it, even 50 years or 100 years after they pass on for the estate. DJ Flem signing out. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Mr. James. And we're going to see each other again in the near future.
Yes. I appreciate it.